Hi everyone, my name is Shivani and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and founder of Zeste Immigration Services Incorporation. Today in this video, we are going to be talking about 4 major updates that IRCC released within this 2 days. So let's get started. So let's start with our updates. Update number 1 is on IRCC category-based draws. Yes, guys, in today's landmark Express Entry draw, IRCC held its first ever category-based draw. In a move that has been anticipated since the end of May, IRCC has issued 500 invitations, ITAs, to healthcare workers looking for permanent residence in Canada. All healthcare workers who received an ITA in today's draw had a minimum CRS score of 476. Candidates from all programs were invited in this draw. Moreover, the IRCC has already announced the future category-based draws. Yes, that's correct, guys. So IRCC has already noted that they will issue 1,500 more ITAs to healthcare workers in the next week. In addition, IRCC has confirmed that it will hold the first ever round of category-based draws for STEM professions sometime during the week of July 5th. Note, healthcare workers were among 5 occupational categories that IRCC said it would prioritize in their upcoming category-based draws. The other 4 occupations categories were STEM professions, means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, trades such as carpenters, plumbers, contractors, transportation, and agriculture and agri-food. Finally, IRCC announced that they would also conduct category-based draws for Express Entry candidates with strong French language proficiency. This milestone moment in Express Entry history requires a few important reminders. First, all program draws, which are usual norm for Express Entry, typically consider applicants of all 3 programs under the Express Entry Application Management System, which is the Canadian Experience Class, Federal Skilled Worker Program, and the Federal Skilled Trades Program. Second, program-specific draws invite only Express Entry candidates who entered the pool through a specific one of these 3 programs. To date, in 2023, IRCC conducted 4 Express Entry draws specifically for Provincial Nominee Program candidates and 1 FSWP, means Federal Skilled Worker Program specific draw. Third, despite the beginning of category-based draws for Express Entry, IRCC will also continue conducting general Express Entry draws for candidates who do not fall under any of the 5 categories. Before we move on to our update number 2, there's one more thing. IRCC did conduct a regular Express Entry draw on June 27, 2023, in which the CRS cutoff was 486. Candidates from all programs were invited in this draw. Major update number 2. Canada launches first ever tech talent strategy. Yes, guys, the tech talent strategy covers 6 broad measures to attract and retain tech talent from around the world. From H-1B holders, digital nomads, and more, Canada is launching programs to allow more tech workers to work in the country. Canada's new tech talent stream will aim to attract more tech workers through the following measures. First, new open work permit for H-1B holders. Foreign workers on H-1B specialty occupations visa in the US will be able to apply for a Canadian work permit as well as study or work permit options for the accompanying family members. Starting July 16, Canada will open the program for 1 year or until 10,000 applications are submitted, whichever comes first. This is supposed to be a 3-year open work permit for H-1B visa holders. IRCC will improve labor mobility in North America by creating a streamlined work permit for H-1B specialty occupation visa holders in the US to apply to come to Canada. Right now, many workers in high-tech fields are employed in companies with operations in Canada and the US, and those working in the US often have H-1B specialty occupation visa. As of July 16, 2023, H-1B holders in the US and their accompanying immediate family members will be able to apply to come to Canada. The approved applicants will receive an open work permit for up to 3 years, which means they can work for almost any employer in Canada. In addition, their spouses and dependents can also be eligible to apply for a temporary resident visa. IRCC believes that this will expand available opportunities for skilled workers to continue to pursue careers in high-tech sector and contribute to economic growth in North America. This measure will remain in effect for 1 year or until IRCC receives 10,000 applications. Next is new innovation stream under the International Mobility Program. Canada is creating employer-specific work permits for up to 5 years for workers destined to work for certain government-approved companies and open work permits for up to 5 years for high-skilled workers in select in-demand occupations. The innovation stream will be launched by the end of this year. Next is opening to digital nomads. Yes, guys, you may have heard about the term digital nomads from many other European countries. However, this will be happening in Canada for the very first time. So remote workers can work in Canada for 6 months going through the same process as a visitor. IRCC will also promote Canada as a destination for digital nomads. A digital nomad is a person who can perform their job remotely from anywhere in this world. In the months ahead, IRCC will collaborate with public and private partners to determine whether additional policies to attract digital nomads to Canada would be desirable. Under current Canadian immigration rules, a digital nomad can remain in Canada for up to 6 months as a visitor while they perform their job remotely for a foreign employer. IRCC expect that some of these digital nomads who enter Canada will decide to seek opportunities with Canadian employers, bringing their skills to Canada by applying for a temporary work permit or permanent residence. Next is improvements to startup visa program, including allocating more spots to this program for 2023 with further increases planned for 2024 and 2025. Applicants will be able to apply for a work permit that is up to 3 years in duration instead of 1 year. Applicants will be able to apply for an open work permit instead of one that limits them to working for their own startup. Canada is making this 3-year open work permit available to each member of the entrepreneurial team instead of only those who are essential and urgently needed in Canada. In addition, Canada is prioritizing applications that are supported by venture capital, angel investor groups, and business incubators and have capital committed, along with applications that are supported by business incubators who are members of Canada's tech network. So essentially, the Startup Visa, also known as SUV program, is a path to permanent residence for foreign entrepreneurs who gain the support of a designated Canadian venture capital fund, angel investor organization, or business incubator for their startup. To address the lengthy wait times for applicants, more spots were allocated under this program, increasing from 1,000 to 3,500. This means targets have tripled the number of permanent residents expected in the federal business category for 2023, and this number is expected to increase even more in 2024 and 2025. This is in response to feedback from stakeholders that have made it clear that the startup entrepreneurs may not have the ability to make a full salary, and being given the opportunity to earn additional income elsewhere can ease financial stress on these individuals and their families. The work permit will be available to each member of the entrepreneurial team. Before the announcement, only members of the entrepreneurial team who were identified as essential and urgently needed in Canada could apply for a work permit. IRCC will also prioritize applications that are supported by committed capital or endorsed by a business incubator that is also a member of Canada's tech network to move to the front of the processing line. Next is return to 14-day service standard for work permits under the Global Skill Strategy. The Global Skill Strategy features 4 policies designed to support Canadian employers seeking quick access to highly skilled talent from around the world. Employment and Social Development Canada, also known as ESDC, is now meeting the 2-week standard processing for global talent stream labor market impact assessments for employers, and the IRCC is now meeting the 2-week standard for work permit applications. Major update number 3 is work permit holders can now study in Canada with no restriction on program length. Yes, guys, Canada is introducing a temporary measure allowing workers to study in Canada beyond 6 months. Before this change, foreign workers could only study in programs of 6 months or less. Otherwise, they needed a study permit. This limitation has been a barrier in credential recognition as well as for those who want to improve their education. The new measure will be in place for 3 years. It applies to work permit holders who have a valid work permit or to those who have a decision pending for a work permit extension on June 27, 2023. Foreign workers can study full-time or part-time while their work permits are valid or until the expiration of the policy, with no restriction on the length of the program as per the IRCC website. However, if a work permit holder wishes to study beyond the expiry of their work permit, they still need to apply for the study permit. Temporary foreign workers are incredibly important for the Canadian economy, and many of them have aspirations that go far beyond the work that initially brings them to Canada. Quoting the RCC minister, "With this policy in place, we hope to empower foreign nationals to improve their skills in order to meet their career goals and achieve their dreams, while providing a potential source of talent for our labor market." Now, this policy update brings me to an important note on express entry. If you guys already know, the Canadian government says that any Canadian work experience gained during a period of full-time study does not count towards eligibility requirements for the Canadian experience class, nor can students earn express entry points for it. That being said, foreign nationals who wish to use the measure to improve their express entry chances may be able to use the points from achieving a higher level of education or gaining qualifying work experience through part-time studies. Candidates may also use this opportunity to improve their French or English proficiency and gain more points. With better language skills also comes the opportunity to gain higher skilled job, which may be valuable for express entry eligibility points. While we don't know if this temporary measure will become permanent, the IRCC will evaluate the outcomes of this policy and use the information to make a decision on future changes. Next big announcement is Quebec work permit holders do not need CAQ to study. Yes, in line with these changes, Quebec will no longer require a CAQ for work permit holders who wish to study in the province. The exemption from CAQ studies is to apply at the same time as the federal government's policy, which is June 27. The fourth major update on our list is the introduction of new grocery rebate. Yes, guys, as part of Budget 2023, the Government of Canada introduced a grocery rebate to provide financial support to eligible Canadians. This rebate is scheduled to be issued on July 5th, 2023, alongside the next quarterly GST/HST credit payment. The grocery rebate will be equivalent to double the GST/HST credit amount you received for January 2023. Well, now, who can get the payment? You will receive the grocery rebate if you were entitled to receive the GST/HST credit for January 2023. To get the grocery rebate, you have to file tax return for 2021, even if you have no income to report for that year. Please note, it is possible that you may be entitled to the grocery rebate, but not the July GST/HST credit or vice versa. The grocery rebate is calculated based on your 2021 tax return, but the next quarterly GST/HST credit payment in July 2023 is calculated based on your 2022 tax return. Eligibility criteria: you and your spouse or common law partner, if applicable, must meet the eligibility criteria for 2021 base year to qualify for this rebate. I'll drop the link for this in the description box, so please feel free to check that out. So, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so that you get notified every single time I post a new video. If you wish to learn about your Canadian immigration options, then feel free to contact us at www.zestcanada.ca or simply book an appointment with me using the link given in the description box below. See you soon and all the best for your future.